except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. What does that mean? It means that if you get arrested, you can become what?
A slave.
A slave, that's right. And you know what they do with slaves today in the prison industrial complex? They sell you on Wall Street. They fill these beds in prisons throughout our nation, and then they sell their stocks on Wall Street, where you can buy some incredible stocks that pay huge dividends in companies like the Geo Group, like CCA, like CEC. Do you guys know what the #1 industry in South Carolina is? Anybody? #1 industry?
Prison.
Prison, that's right. The #1 industry in South Carolina is prison. Since 1866, immediately after this was written in 1865 passed, in 1866 they built the first prison right here in South Carolina, the first federal prison, and they started something called prison leasing. Has anybody heard of prison leasing? Prison leasing began in 1866. It was where they created these things called the Black Codes. The Black Code basically made it illegal to be black. If you were walking across the street the wrong way, you would go to prison. If you didn't have money in your pocket, you would go to prison. If you didn't have a job, you would go to prison. If you looked at a white woman the wrong way, guess where you was going?
Prison.
And that started in 1866, and it was called the Black Codes. They started putting black people in these prisons and then leasing them out to the railroads and the mining companies. And some of the same plantations that they had just been slaves on, leased them right back to them. That continued in this country until the 60s in Mississippi. Mississippi was one of the last states to get rid of that prison leasing program. But it still also continues even more so through the private prison industrial complex. Anybody know how many prisoners we have in America? 2.4 million. 2.4 million people are behind bars right now. 1 million children are arrested every single year. It's the largest prison population in the history of the entire world. There has never, anywhere, been as many prisoners as we have in America right now. Now, of each one of our kids, our husbands, our wives, and our daughters that go to these prisons, they have a price tag on it. You're worth something to the prison. For men, you're worth $30,000 to $50,000 a year. It don't matter what you did. If you're in that prison's going to get paid $30,000 to $50,000 for every man. For every woman, it's worth $60,000 to $80,000. And for every child that goes into a prison, it's worth $80,000 to $120,000 a year. This is big business. If you wonder why we have so many laws that criminalize the things we do, and why we have so many disappearing from our communities, that is the answer. They're putting us in these prisons in order to collect this money on us. They don't care what you did. So I'm here to tell you that abolitionists, just like we had with Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, John Brown, are needed today. We need more abolitionists. Our plan as abolitionists is this. First, we want to get this taken out of our Constitution. There is no reason for there to be any language in the United States Constitution that allows for slavery to exist. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the first thing. The second thing is we want to abolish all private prisons in the United States of America. There should be no such thing as prison for profit. If you create prison for profit, then you create a demand for what? Prisoners.
That's right.
And that's all they want to do is fill these men. Right now in the United States of America, 1 in 6 black men can expect to spend time in prison before they're 25 years old. 1 in 6 of our children.
Yes.
And if the trends continue as they have been going, that is going to be 1 in 3. I'm a father of 6 children. I lost 2 of them to the prison system for life. I fit the odds. If you have several children, then you have to literally look at this and go, 1, 2, 3. Odds are I'm going to lose one of you. Did you want to lose your children behind this? I don't, not anymore. So People just don't know. That's why they're getting away with it. That's why we can have the largest prison population in the world, because people don't know. They don't read the 13th Amendment. They figured that in 1865, slavery ended, the Emancipation Proclamation freed all the slaves, and myths like that have led us to where we are today. I'm only 50 years old, or I'll be 50 years old this year. I know I look like I'm 90, but I'll only be 50. In my 50 years, I have watched with my own eyes the prison population go from 240,000 prisoners across the entire country to 2.4 million in my own lifetime. That is unacceptable. And we should not, as a people, accept it. Our children are not commodities to be gathered up by criminal courts and cops and processed through these courts and put into prison for things like wearing their pants sagging. In Asheville, North Carolina, a young man was just arrested recently because they have a law there that says if you show 4 inches or more of your underwear, you can get a $500 fine or 6 months in jail. Now, who does that affect? Because I don't see a lot of white people running around here with a pants sack. That's how they criminalize our people. And we do not have to sit back here and accept the fact that our children are criminals, because they're not. Our children are wonderful, bright, beautiful people who deserve freedom and equality just like everybody else. So, with that being said, I do a radio show every Wednesday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. called New Abolitionist Radio. And I got to tell you, the abolitionist movement is growing by leaps and bounds. Once people understand what's going on, they become responsible for that knowledge and they act on it, even if it's just sharing the information. You can check us out at New Abolitionist Radio at blackhawkradionetwork.com. The archives are available. If you want to know more, it is all there at blackhawkradionetwork.com. I'll finish with a poem. I don't know if I'm coming back up again later or not, but I'd like to share a few words with you in poetry. Is that all right?
That's all right.
Yeah, I did my abolitionist thing. Now I got to do my poet thing. All right. I used to know you. You were our prime at one time. The ones that heart despair, love to give, vengeance to deliver, charges to guard, futures to prepare for, plans to make, people to meet, and places to go. And so, that's why I say I used to know you. I seen you stand and be slain in Tiananmen Square for what you thought was right. Free love was like a power with a flower in his joint, and you stood up against any odds just to make a point. When the WTO was show to show that they own the show, from all over the world, you'll get up and made you get up and go. Save the forest, feed the children, stop the war, protect the earth, give the power to the people, and even free willing. And none of it felt silly. No, not then and not really. I would smile at your audacity as the guardian angels stepped to a crime scene, popping Black Panther caps, borrowed from a million men marching on a single mission. So where are they now? I used to know you. I seen you go from following idols with a cause to worshiping them just because. Is it because my man Martin's message got mixed up with Marshall Mathers' music and what mattered in the message got missed? Or did it happen when Malcolm was made into a movie that mocked that man's mission, leaving only an X to mark a spot for Denzel to eventually beat his boy Oscar?
All right.
Maybe Ali was more than Will could make real on the reel of real. Unreal. Where's the men and women of the Harlem Renaissance who wrote realism with a rhythm that breaks remembrance? Retract that. I already heard. You can find them in the club with a bottle of bug. Big pimping up in NYC, making the girls go wild on a spring break. Why not? Money ain't a thing with a players play, and to not do it for a big old check is just ludicrous. You know they want a soul job that gets crunked up at Def Jams, even if it has got some shady records. Okay. After all, it's all about the Benjamins. What? Yeah, right, what? You've been desensitized, disillusioned, tossed into a pit of despair, disenchanted, dismissed like you weren't even there. Known as a fact that white, brown, red, yellow, or black, we won't fight back, right? I used to know you, and just maybe I still do. It might be that 20-inch spinning rims won't mislead the men we depend on, and my baby's mama might be more than a no. Mayhap we'll forgo the fiesta and feast on something with a little more meat. Retrace the retreat and retrieve respect lost along the way. Have something to say that will make them love you like they love pop. But wouldn't that be hot? Well, maybe not. You see, you got what it takes to stop being slaves. The heart, soul, and need to cross land, sea, and airwaves. Unless you've forgotten, freedom was being fought for in an underground railroad long before a tale of two towers tragedy turned truth into treason. I'm sure you can find a reason. There's plenty of causes. We just need rebels who aren't riddled with Ritalin or dependent on a dopamine rush. Kids who aren't cattle, and men and women who are ready and willing to do battle with a beast that made monkeys out of monkeys and didn't need to do it on the hush. He got you right in your face, adding much to our disgrace. Disgrace. See, it's easy to keep it real when it don't get no realer, but it's hard to show your cards when you don't trust the dealer. You got swift hands shuffling marked cards and calling it fate, finicky whim that is stressing us. But who created tools and rules for bamboozled fools to use the same system that is oppressing you? And I swear, I wish I could stress to you how sinister cycles are set up to keep Willie Lynch while little baby Jimmy continues to eat crumb. Didn't you know? I guess the answer is no. So I used to know you. Peace. I'm Max Parthas. You can find me at MaximumImpactPoetry.com. Please remember we need abolitionists. We need to end the 13th Amendment exception clause, and we need to end private prisons in America. We don't want our children to be lost any longer. Peace.